How critical to all of this is the freedom of the Palestinian people, the existence of a free state of Palestine?
The whole story of the modern Middle East, which is a story of war that stretches from Libya to Sudan, Somalia, Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Iran. That whole story traces back directly to the question of Palestine. This is very basic and very important to understand. Netanyahu leads a political movement that from 1977, when it was founded onward, and what it said in its founding charter, this is the Likud party, Israel's sovereignty will extend from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean. What that means for everybody is no Palestine anywhere to be seen. Israel will rule over the entire territory. Any discussion of a state of Palestine alongside a state of Israel will be opposed. When Netanyahu came into power in 1996, he and his American Zionist neocons, people in high positions in the U.S. government or who would be in high positions in the U.S. government, concocted what they called the clean break idea. Clean break meant a break from the idea of, quote, land for peace. That idea is international law. Israel leaves the areas that it occupied in the 1967 war in return for peace. So it's called land for peace. That land becomes a state of Palestine next to the state of Israel. But for Netanyahu, that's impossible. So there's a clean break with land for peace. And Netanyahu, to his evil credit, recognized that that position is so inimical to the rights and interests of the Palestinian people and to the beliefs of the world that there would be militant opposition to it. And by the way, armed struggle in defense of political self-determination has been proclaimed to be legitimate in the United Nations for decades. The point is Netanyahu knew that there would be opposition, even armed opposition. And then Netanyahu said, we don't have to fight those militias or paramilitaries or Palestinian movements. We need to overthrow the governments in the Middle East that are supporting them. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you see wars across the Middle East, these are Netanyahu's wars to overthrow governments that have supported the Palestinian cause, the cause of a state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel. And that meant overthrowing the Libyan government in 2011. It meant that Israel was deeply involved, if you can believe this, that they have this time on their hands to support a insurgency in southern Sudan to create a civil war in Sudan to bring down the Sudan government. We don't think of Israel as part of the South Sudan insurgency, but that was part of their strategy. This is what is taking place in Gaza. This is what is taking place in the West Bank right now. This is what took place in Syria. What took place in Syria was a war launched by Barack Obama on the same principle on behalf of Israel to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, who was the leader of Syria. Why? Because Assad was supportive of the Palestinian cause, so he had to be gotten rid of. So in 2012, Obama signed a presidential finding called Operation Timber Sycamore, which assigned the CIA the responsibility to overthrow Bashar al-Assad. It was 13 years of bloody war, hundreds of thousands dead. It's called a covert regime change operation in polite company, not so polite. 2003, same story. Everyone can go online and find in October 2002, Netanyahu testifying in Congress of how brilliant and wonderful and easy and inspiring it will be for the United States to overthrow Saddam Hussein. And it was going to lead to an uprising in Iran that was going to show the way to freedom. The man has been filled with this murderous BS for decades, and the U.S. has been a party to it for decades. And that's the story we're in till now. They don't negotiate because they don't want to negotiate. And there is one more point that's important to understand. Israel wants hegemony, military dominance over the Middle East. The United States has long wanted, insisted on, and believed in U.S. dominance over the world. In Trump's simpleton mind, this is a very personalized thing. Trump was going to choose the next leader of Iran. Trump was going to take their oil and make so much money. But part of the Iran story for the United States is that the Iranians had the gall to escape from American hegemony. You see, in 1953, the CIA and Britain's MI6 conspired to overthrow the democratic government of Iran. And the US installed a police state. And that police state lasted 26 years. And the Iranian Revolution of 1979 was Iran escaping the US imposed police state. What did the US do? It didn't say, well, we're so sorry for those 26 years. We should not have intervened in your country and overthrown your democracy back in 1953. What the United States did was encouraged and funded and armed Saddam Hussein, the one we fought a few years later, to invade Iran and to kill hundreds of thousands of Iranians. That started already in the 1980s. You see, the United States needs its revenge. Revenge for what? Revenge for escaping the American empire, because Iran was in our hands and they got out of our hands. And since the early 1980s, the US has one way or another been attacking Iran. It's been using especially confiscation of Iran's own money. Donald Trump, in his utter bullshit, and I'm sorry to use the language because we hear such garbage from this man every day, such lies, says Obama sent pallets of money to Iran. You know what? That was a tiny fraction of Iran's own money that the United States had confiscated. We've confiscated tens of billions of dollars of Iran's money. Iran's money. Trump, do you get it? It was Iran's money. It's too complicated for him, I know.
Yeah.
But this is what happened. We've been at war with this country since 1979. And then Netanyahu comes along in 1996 and he says, we'll be your loyal buddies and partners in this. We need to overthrow the Iranian government. And that has been Netanyahu's 40-year dream, because it was 10 years before, clean break, 10 years before he became prime minister. He already harbored these murderous ideas. And we're in the middle of this now. And the world economy is going down. We've got our supreme genius in our country blockading a blockade. This is great, very clever. The straits were open 2 days ago. Netanyahu bombed Beirut to make sure that they wouldn't really be opened. Then phony non-negotiations. Now, not only are the straits closed, we're blockading the blockade. This is absolutely wonderful, Mr. Trump. You've just solved the problem.
What have Netanyahu and Trump gained by their 6 weeks of war?
Well, they've killed a lot of people. That must be satisfying to them. They have destroyed a lot of Iran. That must be very satisfying to them. They have achieved no strategic aims, of course, at all. They have brought the world economy to already a major crisis that I think is likely to get vastly worse. And they have achieved nothing politically at all. So this war is a complete, whimsical, delusional disaster, except that Trump and Netanyahu like the idea of killing Iranians and bombing the place. Israel does have a concept called mowing the grass. Mowing the grass is the concept that every few years, Israel should enter Gaza and kick the shit out of them for a while. Excuse the language, but what I mean by that is murder lots of people and kill innocent people and destroy the infrastructure. That's called mowing the grass. So Netanyahu can at least say we've mowed the grass in Iran. But of course, it has solved no military problem, no political problem, no economic problem, no geopolitical problem, no security problem. It's only made everything worse.
Good Lord. How do you see this ending, Jeff?
I think it's going to continue to escalate, actually, because even when you have, this complete weirdness of the president of the United States saying, open the strait, you crazy bastards, and I'm going to destroy your civilization. And then there's a ceasefire that night. Well, the next day we had the bombing of Beirut. The day after we had the failed negotiations. The day after we had the U.S. blockade of the Iranian blockade. In other words, he's not mentally stable enough.